Go get my charger, huh? Ooh, I'm not prepared. I'm sorry, guys. I did not grab my charger. I'm gonna give y'all a second to get up in here while I grab my charger. It's not in the bathroom. Lord. I honestly don't know where my charger is. Got him. I'm coming. All right, guys. I'm sorry. I was not prepared like I should have been. Let me plug this up because I feel as though it might die. So that's one thing I gotta do. And the next time I'm gonna do is turn this damn fan on. See, little bit. You get with me? Up. All right. All right. We're back. Hi, guys. It's your girl, Me-Anie here. I am tuning in to do a live video for you guys. And this is basically a Q&A. Someone messaged me a couple nights ago. And she has some questions about her locks. She got Instant Lock started. Hi, Aisha. 7. Hey, boo. You want to walk my dog? Because he's back here somewhere. I need to go give him a bath with his busy self. I might have to turn my... Is my connection bad? How's it? It keeps telling me very bad connection. I hope I'm not hooked up to Wi-Fi because that shit sucks. Alright, so like I said, I'm doing a live video. It's a Q&A to answer some questions from this young lady. Basically, this young lady got naturally Cree. This young lady got her hair done in Instant Locks, and she's very upset that she only received a certain amount of locks. And the discussion that I'm about to have with you guys is going to talk a lot about how to select, basically how you can go about making sure you get the size you want, and then what the preference should be as far as asking for your lock size. So my thing is, and this is why a lot of people always want to know, like, how my glasses are giving a glare, how many locks you have. So when you go in to get your locks, it's always hard to tell somebody that I want X amount of locks. Like, telling them that you want a specific number of locks is more difficult as opposed to you telling them I want this size locks. So you can go in and say, okay, I want standard size locks, I want micro locks, I want sister locks, I want jumbo locks. Start with that, because telling them that you want a certain number of locks is very, very hard to achieve. And I say that because even with myself, when I was trying to reattach my locks, I had 90 locks that I would have been reattaching to my head. So in order for me to achieve that, I had to basically go through my entire head, part every section to make sure everything was a decent size, the same size, and to make sure I had 90. And with doing my entire head first, I had to go back through like 3-4 times to get to 90 because my number was higher. Every time I thought I was close to the number, I was still high. So I had to keep counting. I had to keep combining locks just to get to that 90. And that's just to go to show, like, that's the hair off of my head. That's the hair that I had before. So if it's hard for me to get to a number that I had before, then it's going to be very difficult for you to get to a number that you've never had. Like, you've never had locks before. So you're going in and saying, okay, I want to get 70 locks. Like, a number like that is crazy to reach. Now, if you going in and you only want 10 locks, okay, we can work that out. I could count 10 all day, every day. But bigger numbers like, 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever, is kind of difficult for someone to map your head in a certain amount of time and give you the amount of locks you need. Now, with that being said, saying you want X amount of locks is not necessarily going to give you the size that you want. So the way that I would suggest doing it is always know the size. Am I yelling? I feel like I'm yelling. I think I'm yelling. The way I would suggest it is to say, what I would suggest doing is to figure out the size that you want. And in knowing the size locks that you want, always know that you're probably going to end up with something that's, within the range, but you're not going to always know how many locks you're going to have. That's why people always wonder, like, how many locks do I have? People never know. After you get your hair done, the joy in it is sitting down and counting to see how many locks you have, because people never know unless you sit there and physically count each one as you go. That's where the big joy comes from, when you watch these YouTubers and you're like, oh my God, how many locks do you have? And people are like, I don't know, I've never counted them, I just know the size that I want, and that's what I ended up with. Let me take a quick little break in between talking and go back and read some of your comments. Thank you, Seven. Love the Afro puffs. Thank you. Oh, let me raise it up so y'all can get the full effect of what is going on here. Okay. What else we got? See, love the hair. Maribel said, love the hair. Thank you. My four happy faces. Hi, you're back again. Someone said, I brought a picture. I bought a photo of mature locks I wanted to mimic when I started my consultation. And that's a good way to start also, bringing in a photo of what you want, but remembering that everybody's hair is different. And what I think happens with people that want to get their hair done like someone else, they expect the exact same thing that that person have, when in all reality, everyone's head shape is different, their hair density is different, the way that, their hair basically lies along the edges are different. So with that being said, you're gonna end up with something close, but it's not going to be exactly what that person having. You need to realize that. You need to accept that and not be envious of what other people have and want it like to a T. Like, this is what I want, no matter what, this is what it's going to be, So I got that. Anytime I wanted jumbo locks, I ended up giving me medium to small. The stylist never listened. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Let's see. This person said, naturally creased, I only have about 68 locks, and my locks are medium sized because my hair is hella thick. I couldn't imagine having over 100. When I started, my last set I had over 100, but my locks are the same thickness as someone who has 150, and that's a perfect example. Your hair could be the same, you can have the same amount of density as someone else, but at the same time, is your head bigger, smaller? Like, do you have like more hair to begin with, like more of a foundation to work with? Let's see. Amber said, I started my own after 6 attempts and finally got it right. I have 56 with an undercut. Okay. I started my locks by myself, so I was just wondering what they would end up looking like. And I'm almost 3 months in. Okay, I got all your comments. So to kind of get back on topic with what we were saying here, it's just always kind of hard. So I really do suggest kind of figuring out the size that you want. Don't focus so much on the number. Focus on the size locks that you want to have. And then from there, know that you're going to have that size for sure, but the number of locks, that might vary. And I also know, like, it's always easier to combine your locks and make them thicker. So even if you end up with a smaller size, I would say get something smaller, because you can always make it bigger in the end. You can combine, but it's really hard to go the opposite way. So if you get big locks and you end up like her, in this case, she ends up with 50, but I think she said she wanted like 65 locks or so, and now she has like 49 or 50. It's harder to, go from a bigger number to kind of making that getting more locks basically. So now you have to sit there, either unpick your locks or bust them open and kind of divide them up. So anybody that's starting their locks and you're not sure what size you're going to end up with, even if it's too small, you can always combine. And that happens a lot with us along the edges, like around I can't even talk, along the perimeter of your hair. Is sometimes it tends to be a little bit thinner, so your part might be bigger, but the amount of hair that's in that part, oh my God, I'm getting so many like notifications and stuff right now. It's so annoying. The amount of hair that's in that part might not be as thick as the amount of hair that you have in the same space on another part of your head. So it's always, you know, wise, even if you start with a smaller size, knowing that you can combine as they mature, and then you can get the size that you really do want. So that's something that I would suggest doing. You know, even if it ends up smaller, you can go bigger. So people right now with sister locks, people with long sister locks, they can eventually, like if they combine their locks, they can have traditional locks. They can combine them either by braiding or twisting or some other kind of method and let it sit for a little while, and then they would turn into traditional locks. Like I saw someone doing that. I think they gave them 2-strand twists and they bonded them at the end. I think they probably used rubber bands or something at the end, and they were like converting from sister locks to traditional locks. And I was like, what the hell, you know, what is this person doing? But when you really sit and think about it, like that's one way you can get bigger locks. So always, if you get something smaller, know that it's not the end of the world. Now, if you get bigger locks, that's where you might find that problem. So I know I talked to her about all this during our conversation, but then we also had some questions at the end that she had. Let's see here. Someone said, I try to start my own locks. Ooh. And my OCD kicked in, and I said, forget it. Now I'm free forming. Yes. I kind of have OCD as well. That's why right now I'm wearing this protective style to keep me from retwisting. Oh my God. How do you say your name? Sofari? Hope I didn't jack that up. I have 160 and my locks were small, but they've gotten bigger over time. Now I want bigger locks. So that's a perfect example. Do you have sister locks? Because 160 locks, that's a lot. But like I was saying, even with that, you can go in at this time and start combining your locks and making them bigger. So that's the beautiful thing about having sister locks or smaller locks. You can always combine and get them bigger and bigger as you go. Let me see. This is my concern as well. I just combined my sister locks and was afraid to count them. But they're around 67. I'm happy. Okay. See, perfect. So people are doing this. They're combining their sister locks to get fuller locks, and I think that's an amazing thing, to be able to experience sister locks for a little while, and then you can decide, okay, I want to go from sister locks to traditional locks. And then even if you end up at traditional locks, you can go even bigger, like, okay, now I want jumbo locks. And the thing is, with these locks, no matter what style you get, you're always able to curl them. The only thing I would say you can't really curl would be like the jumbo natties. I mean, like the natty dreads, the one where they clump together, you know, like the old school dread heads. But sister locks you can curl, traditional locks you can curl, thick locks you can curl. The difference that you're going to find is the definition of the curl that's in these locks. So of course sister locks are going to be, you know, a lot more spiral and bouncy, but as you get bigger, you lose a little bit more of that definition because of the size of the lock, and you get a bigger curl. So her concern was, okay, am I even going to be able to curl my lock? Yes, you are. You're going to be able to curl it, but the definition is going to change, you know, because of the size of your locks. I'm looking at a picture of her locks right now, and I totally think it looks fine. But again, I can't be the judge of that. That's something that you personally have to be okay with. She knows what she wants, and in this case, she feels as though she did not get that. So unfortunately, with bigger locks, you're probably going to have to go and split them up and go from there. So a couple of her questions towards the end. Let's see. Now, this is something that I really don't understand, and it's a term that people are using, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because it just doesn't. And the term is part size ratio. Like, what do you do with that? Like, how do you, I don't even know how to put that in a discussion, like my part size ratio. Don't know, because it, to me, it's just like basically self-explanatory. Like the size that you part is going to determine the size of your lock. So you can do this with like money, like go in with a quarter or dime, say, okay, I want dime size parts, I want nickel size parts. Who the fuck is calling me? All right, let me go cuss this man out real quick, and I'm gonna call y'all right back. Okay, I love y'all. Let me end this video. Be right back. Damn it. Get canceled.